Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. This is Marla Copal, and I'm here today to talk about resiliency and home-based businesses. So lots of times the resiliency we need to have is in the beginning, and the resiliency needs to take us out of the conversation called I can do this into what will I do? What will I do to make this work? So let me back up because that's what we're going to do today is what will you do? So to run a home-based business or to get involved in a network marketing business, you really need to know yourself. And a lot of people look at other people and go, "Oh, I can do that." And yet they don't. So what's the hang up? What got them into a situation? And good morning everybody who's joined me. Um, if you've commented, I still am not figuring out how to get comments to show up on StreamYard for me, if anything on Facebook. But thank you for being here. So when we show up for ourselves, when we're making a business choice, we have to ask a lot of things. And the reason I've started this topic every other day, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays, is because I know a lot of you are preparing to go back to work for someone else, but it may not be really what you want to do. Maybe these last 6, 7 weeks in sheltering in place, you've been having these thoughts. Well, how could I do this and still stay home with my kids? How could I create a living? How could I create a living? And that conversation has probably been in many people's heads because you can see the risk. No employer, as delightful as they are to work for, can ever provide you that sense of security. So if anything, I think the challenge that we all have is we're realizing there is no such thing as security. There is such a thing as control and quality choice making. And I don't mean control like you've got all the reins, just you can take back control because you're resilient. So as you're preparing to go back to work, maybe out of the house, maybe you've been working at home, you may be saying, hey, how can I make something up that's new? Some of you are praying that the quarantine, many of you have businesses that have actually offset some of your losses during this time. Now, there's many opportunities, but I have health products that actually help with the immune system. So yes, I did okay this month. I didn't do well the first month, but the product came out this month, and I did well. I didn't do my normal, but I did well. And the month isn't over. But here's the deal. Where I see people getting excited about a business is they don't get real with themselves. So I'm going to give you a list today. And if you're ready to write this down, I want you to write it down. Because I want you to list your skills. And I'm talking about your skills. Now that can be computer, that can be typewriter, that can be typewriter, right? It's an old word. Now you know where my generation is. It'll be iPads, it'll be phones, it'll be apps. And then your other skills are going to be how are you with people in public? Can you make eye contact? We're going to have to do the elbow bump now instead of the handshake. And I got to tell you, I'm old school. Those handshakes were important to me because I actually am making an assessment of your openness and your willingness and your strength. I've closed more deals on my handshake because it's firm. I had my farmer grandfather teach me how to do a handshake, and I've never lost it. And my dad did too. So that firm grip says a lot to people. So we're losing a piece of body language potentially now that a fist bump doesn't cover. That's like a buddy thing. And the elbow bump is like, I'm scared of you. So really, we have a switch in our body languages that we're going to all have to adjust to. But I digress. List your skills. List things you don't like to do, and then ask yourself some honest questions. And those questions are, you don't like to do it just because it's uncomfortable? Nothing wrong with it. You just don't feel good? If that's the case, get a journal and start writing down why it doesn't make you feel good. Because you probably did it once in your life, and Billy Bob in school teased you about it, and now you don't want to do it. It's like, let that go. So figure out if there are things that you know you could do, but they make you uncomfortable, therefore you do not do them. When it comes to meeting people, when it comes to making a presentation, when it comes to talking about what you love, whatever is holding you back, get it in a journal and figure that out. Some people don't start businesses because they feel they never had training. Well, I got to tell you, it's a bootstrap kind of a life. People will offer you training, but it's amazing how many people do not take you up on it because they're running around with a thought in their head, I can do this. And they're missing some of the fine tuning that they might need to be successful. I offer training for my team all the time, and they don't take me up on it. And there could be all sorts of reasons for that. But if they're comfortable not understanding if they could tweak something better, that's fine. But just know that a lot of business people that are teaming up with you are willing to coach and to train. So understand where you think you have some weaknesses and go ahead and ask for some help. And so if you think you're someone who will never ever ask for help, then maybe you're not the one to start a home-based business. So, and then watch how others are doing their business and decide if you would do that. And what I mean is there are some people who are very easily can get on the phone and do 50 phone calls a day. And there are other people that would just scare, they would have to take 10 minutes between the dials in order to talk to someone because they were so uncomfortable from the last call. So if that's the case, then put that down. And then that's something you talk to a facilitator with, either a sales skills facilitator, a small business facilitator. And I use the word facilitator because that's what I am. I'm not a coach. I'm a facilitator. I'm going to take your skills that you have. We're going to look at those and we're going to look what gets in the way and we're going to role play. We're going to role play a lot until I can facilitate you into new areas of comfort. Why do I do that? Just because I've done it my whole life. It's something I'm very comfortable with, and I do that. So I have a lot of people who just call me up and do half-hour discovery calls, and we get through that and see what it is that they need. So I'm a skill-based supporter of small business operators. And they can have a brick and mortar building or they can have a network marketing business. But what we're going to talk about is what are the skills that you've put on the shelf that you're not using, that you could use, they just need a dust off. And why do they need a dust off? Probably because in your brain somewhere you told yourself that you couldn't do this, or that this wasn't right, or this wasn't working. Well, what maybe wasn't working 3 weeks ago will work now. So there's so many balls in the air right now for everybody. Should I do this? Should I do that? So the best way to get out of the shoulds is to come in and start listing your assets. Those are your skills. And once you've listed your skills, once you've gone through those skills and you've said, yeah, I just need to dust that off. How am I going to do it? You will be on your road to making your next choice. Now you want to make a good business decision. See, I see a lot of people jumping from one business to another when it doesn't work in 2 years or it doesn't work in 6 months. But what I realize is they never got out the door and built the connection. And it takes a long time to build the connections where people say, you're solid. You have been there for a long time. I've watched you. So I have not always had a brick and mortar business. I've had network marketing businesses, but I did have a brick and mortar business at one point. And here was the fascinating thing. People watch you, and you want to know how you're being watched. So I was in property management. And I'll tell you a quick side note. It was a very funny story about how I bought that business. I'd been saying for years that I wanted to have my own property management business. And I was working for someone in Bakersfield, California. And it wasn't me, but it was the office manager. And he went to lunch that day. And she's negotiating our contracts for the next year. And he says, I don't want the business. Buy me out. And she said, okay, Marla and I will buy you out. She came back from lunch with him and said, Marla, we're buying the business. And I went, okay. And then we looked at it, and it was pretty reasonable. We brought in a lot of, we had all of his properties that we would still manage, so we were good. So we started it out and, did a lot of things. We had to scramble, like find a space, move, but we did it. And we revamped, renamed, did all those things. And then within a year, he took his properties back. And so we felt like something had been stolen from us, but we had no right to manage his stuff. And he was just selling it all off. So we had to regroup, and we did. So there's a lot of regrouping necessary in any small business. And so the reason I'm sharing this today is you have to be somewhat of a risk taker. But investigate your risk taking. You can take a risk if what you do is you go out and you look at all your skills and you look at your background and what are the assets you have that you've not used. Where are you volunteering outside of your current business, and what leadership skills are you bringing to what you're doing? Well, why can't you bring those into a home-based business? Why can't you bring that into either that manufacturing business that you've always wanted to start, that retail business online, or that networking business in which you have to build a team of people? So find a facilitator of skills, find some leadership that you feel you can duplicate. Not just get all enthusiastic about and feel like your balloon got popped in a couple of weeks. You need the person who's going to support you, to come back at you, not with a little pat on the hand, but a good strong poke. What are you doing? What have you thought of? What have you tried? And what are you going to do now? Because when you have those kinds of conversations with your team leaders or with your spouse who may be coaching you or whomever, you are going to get yourself to the next step, and you will be a successful small business owner. And I love being a small business owner. So I look forward to our next chat on Thursday at 8:30 in the morning and Mountain Time. And come at me with your questions. So if you have questions, you can text me to my phone number, which is 719-964-2268. I left out a 2, my apologies. Or you can text Marla to 64600. And if you'd like to set half-hour discovery calls with me, I'm open for that. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.